Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Process to Purpose show. This is your girl, your sister, your auntie, your cousin, your friend, your neighbor, Salome. And I just want to welcome you to our show, another episode of her show. Thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to tune in and listening. And I hope that you are being blessed by the conversations that are uploaded weekly. I pray that you're able to glean from it, learn from it, and apply some of the gems that have been dropping. Because my guests have been coming in and just dropping some gems, and they are so powerful. And I just hope that it has positively impacted your life. So today is no different because I have one of my sister, my big sister, all the way from Texas to just share with us. And you know, this show we talk about process to purpose. Some of the things that we have faced, that are going through, that are so hard and so rough, but God has allowed it to strengthen us and just propel us and move us into our purpose. And so we recognize that the things that we go through is for a purpose so that God can be glorified and people's lives can be changed. And so we are changing lives one episode after another. Before we go further, I just want to remind you to go and check out my books, my two books that I have written, Giving Birth to Purpose in an Uncomfortable Place, and also my new published children's book, I Am a Purpose Seed. Yes, your children, they are important. They do have a purpose, but it is your responsibility to help them to cultivate, to highlight what it is that God has placed on the inside of them before they were placed inside of their mother's womb. And that is very important. So go ahead. They can be found on Amazon, not that expensive at all. But if you want an autograph copy for your special child and you want to give that special gift, go ahead and DM me or inbox me, and I'll be able to just provide that for you. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to a lovely lady, as I said, my big sister from the big city, from Texas. And, she wants to share her story, and hopefully it will be able to just change and transform lives. And so without further ado, Miss Sheila, I am welcoming you to the Process to Purpose show. How are you doing? How's
I,
everything going over there?
I am great. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm very excited.
I know I haven't known you that long, but we were on a platform and we met, and we exchanged information. And one of the things that I really like and the app is Clubhouse. And for all y'all saved sanctimonious, Clubhouse. Yes, it's called
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. And we are called to go into those places. So don't judge me, okay? But one thing I really like with that is that without even your face, people not seeing your face, but hearing your voice, and to be able to positively impact someone to the extent that they want to reach out to you and form good relationships. It's amazing. It's amazing to me because we're a community and we're finding ways that we can connect. But let me just not go on and on. Miss Sheila. So I want to ask you first, let me just ask you, because you're in Texas, and I know for the past, 3 weeks or so, Texas have been going through such a hard time with the storm and everything. So I want to know, how are you? How are your family? How has it impacted you? And what's going on over there?
Thank you for asking. I am doing well. You're right. For the last 3 weeks or so, it's been crazy here in Texas. And as far as the storm on last week and the ice and the snow, we're not used to snow. We see snow, everything shuts down. And so with the snow, it came. A lot of people, they lost electricity. A lot of people lost water. They had pipes to burst and all of that. But thanks be to God, we were not affected at my house because we were on the same grid as the fire station around the corner. So we were blessed, and we were able to bring in family members to our house to be able to allow them to be at a safe place while all of this is going on. So that was exciting that God put us in a place to be able to help our family. So we're doing very well. As of last night, it was a hailstorm, and I was like, okay, we've had hail, we've had snow, we've had 70 degrees weather even after last week when it was freezing. A couple of days later, the sunshine came out and it was like 70 degrees.
Well, we thank God for the sunshine. I'm not
Yeah.
going to even say anything about our wonderful, nice California weather that we have now because, I'm just going to leave it at that. But thank you so much for just sharing that. Our topic for today is through thick and thin, sickness and health, and Sheila has such an interesting story, especially and she's married. So Sheila has been married for over 30 years.
Yes.
30 years.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just going on 12, and I'm already complaining.
Oh.
So I know I have quite a few more. Well, for the rest of my life to go. You are a mom of two boys. They're older. They're adults now, and you have been such an amazing and inspiring person. Even before, when we were talking and hearing your story, it brought so much tears to me, but in such a good way. It has fortified me and strengthened me, and just give me a different perception of marriage and relationship. So I want you to share that with us. You've been married for how long? Have you been married now? Oh,
Uh,
well, you said 30 years. When did you get married? That was my question.
June 30th, 1990. So in June, it'll be 31. So super excited. But can I tell you this? I am a mother of two, but I do have a granddaughter. I had two sons, but God gave me that little girl. She's 4 years old. So
All
more.
right, now, so you
So
got your baby girl.
yes, 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 I got
Okay,
it.
that's awesome. And you got married very young. You got married at 25. How was
Yes.
that for you? And how did that start?
So I met my husband in college at Grambling State University. And for me at 25, I went from college to being married and leaving a dorm to living with someone, trying to get to know this person better. And so 30 plus years, it's been wonderful, but everything hasn't been all wonderful. You don't expect marriage to be just the perfect thing. Although when I got married, I was like, oh yes, I said I want to have two children. And I said I wanted to, live in a, I didn't want to, I was born and raised in Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana. So we relocated to Texas after we got married. And so I wanted to live in the big city and do big things, okay?
Mhm.
Which it did happen. And so the most important thing to me about getting married was before I got married, I had counseling and spiritual counseling, and I knew exactly what I was getting into. And along with the counseling, we did discuss and go over the vows. And so I knew that those vows were very sacred. And if I was going to make a vow, then I had to make up my mind, do I really want to do this or do I not want to do this? And when I said yes, I had to do what I had to do.
Wow. So let's just stick a pin right there,
Okay.
because I think it's very important. And I hope young women that maybe are already married, including myself, and those who are looking to get married. We talk about premarital counseling and how important it is. And I know a lot of people are against it, some are for it. Some who have gone through it have still had a lot of difficulties. But I think it is very important, especially at a young age, to have premarital counseling and to have that information be given onto you for you to really think about it some more. That's exactly what you're doing. You're thinking about it. What am I going to do if this comes up? And so, our theme, through thick and thin,
Yes.
sickness and health. And this is the point that I want to share with you all. And I hope that you all are listening and gleaning and paying keen attention to this story that Sheila is going to share with you, because the wedding is the event. The
Yes.
wedding is the event, but
Yes.
the marriage is something for a lifetime,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And this is what I see in our society, that the glitz and the glam of things are so attractive. I think what has happened is that people forget that this is a lifetime. commitment and covenant, that through thick and thin. I mean, some people change the vows up and they make their own vows, and some people don't want to say through sickness and health, through sickness, through health and health, for richer and for richer. And so they're not even saying, because they don't want to bring themselves to know that it is a possibility that things might not go the way you want it to go, but you still have to stay together. So I want you to share your point of view when it comes on to really being there for through, through thick and thin with your husband. And I want you to share your story with your husband as well. I want to give you that opportunity as well.
Okay. Before I say that, I do want to say this. My pastors here in Texas, before you even go through counseling, do not set a date. A lot of people go in setting a date already, but until you go through counseling, do not set your date. Because after counseling and you agreeing to, you're listening to what the vows are and what's expected in a marriage, you may decide, that's not for me. So before you set your date, it's so important, I think, to be able to go through counseling, because there are going to be some things that come up that you may not be aware of. There are going to be some things that come up that, no, I can't do that. No, I'm not ready for that. So I wanted to say that. Okay, so with me, like you said, my husband and I, we've been married 30 years. We got married in 1990 and things went well, as married couples. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. We've wanted to go our separate ways many times, but no, we remember that vow that we made with each other. And so about 8 years ago, my husband, he lost his eyesight. Okay. And so totally blind, can't see anything. And even on top of blindness, well, before that, he had diabetes. Okay. And so with uncontrolled diabetes, he lost his eyesight.
Mhm.
He also, through uncontrolled diabetes, developed something that's called gastroparesis. And this is a disease where the delay of the stomach emptying or whatever. So that disease keeps him in and out of the hospital. So uh, he loses his sight, he loses his ability to do a lot of things. He loses his job where he had three jobs, had a good income coming in, my income, his three incomes. Okay. And so with all of that, when he lost all of that, it was still important to support my husband, because losing his sight, developing gastroparesis keeps him in and out of the hospital, even until today. And so that is something that we didn't know that would happen when we made our vows. Okay. So that was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. So Lord, we need you. We can't do this without you. And so he has gone through a lot with the sickness, with losing his eyesight, but through it all, he has been such an encouragement to me. He helped me. You know, I had to develop, because he was the one he loves to cook. So he did most of the cooking. He did most of the running around, doing things, helping out with the boys, da da da. So when life made a change for us, it's like, I had to start doing things for myself. And so I had to grow up in certain areas that I didn't want to, but I had no choice, because I made a vow to this man, to stay in this through sickness and disease or distress or whatever comes our way.
Let me ask you this though, and I love, just thank you so much for just sharing. Your marriage is, it's intimate, but for you to want to share your story so it can help us, because it's helping me even now. And I'm trying not to get emotional or anything like that. Stop it, Salome. But I want to ask you, um, in the initial stage of your husband losing well, having the health issues even before it, how did that make you feel? How did, as a wife, young, and he was the bread when he was taking care of the family, he was going out, anything you wanted to do in the house, the manly stuff, he was there for you. But how did you feel in that, on that regards, when these things were happening and you were realizing now, I'm going to have to take this load on, this burden, everything that he was doing and everything that he was providing. Now it's on me. How did you feel as a woman and as a wife?
Well, honestly, um, I thought about it and I was like, wow, this is really happening. I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't want this to happen. I'm like, God, okay, I need your help because I don't know what to do. So I feel like, Sheila, you have no other choice but to step up. You have to do what you have to do because this is your husband. And growing up where the boys were older, and so they were able to help out. There was such a blessing to have two young men in position to help me, and to this date they still are helping out. And but I can't tell you none of this will be possible if we didn't have God in our lives, if we didn't have God on our side, if we didn't fear God, because we love God and we believe God. And to this date, my husband and I are believing that God is going to give him his sight back, regardless of what the doctors are saying. We're believing, we're standing on his word. And so I just encourage people, to just keep if you make a vow, keep that vow. You can do it. You can make it. It may be rough sometimes, it may be hard sometimes, but you can make it. There may be some days you may not be able, I can't stand him. He's making me mad. You're making him mad. You just don't want to be in the same room, but God. That's all I can say is but God. So,
Thanks for sharing that because I know I was going to ask you about your faith because let me tell you, it is important for our marriages to be built on God.
yeah.
God is our foundation, and so as you mentioned, you could not have done it without God. So I'm glad that you were able to depend on God to help you through it because I can't imagine. Well, let me say I have imagined some things,
Hmm.
but when you're imagining some things and being in it is different. um Even in this pandemic, and my husband, we've been married for 12 years and he's 11 years older than me.
Hmm.
And even in this pandemic, I think like, what if something happens to him?
Hmm.
And what will I do and how will I do it? But I know within myself, I really do, that I will be there for him. I would be there for him. So I thank God for that, for just helping me even in my mind, because I think about, I'm the type of person, I don't know, I think the worst, but it's a thing where it prepares me mentally to cushion myself sometimes, like what if this happens? But I mean, as you say, you never know. um so you talked about having your children also.
Hmm.
How did this affect them? How did this affect? I mean, I know they jumped in and they started helping, but in the beginning stage, especially as being a mom, I know boys adore their moms and always want to be there. How did that affect them?
Well, it did in some way because they love their dad. I mean, they are dad. They really are dad boys. Okay, for them. But can I tell you this? I have my mom had they she has seven girls and one boy, and we come from a family of love, of tightness, of closeness, and so we taught our boys about the closeness and the tightness, with family. So family means a lot. So growing up, there were some things that we taught them to pray at an early age. And so they believed in God anyway. And they would say, Mom, it's going to be all right. Dad's going to be all right. So they were very supported in that area. And to this day, I mean, they love their dad and would do anything for their dad. And so for them to see him go, now it hurts them to see him go through the things that he's going through. So they just do what they can to help out so that it won't be such a burden on me or him. They don't want to see him in any position or condition that he's not able to help himself or whatever. They are always here or always there when he needs them. And I just tell you, I feel we've raised some really good Christian young men who really truly love God and believe God and they take him at his word.
Thank God. Thank God. I mean, no, your husband is not on, and I'm hoping next time we can have both of you on to share as well, because it's important to kind of hear from his perspective as a man. Because I know, men want to know that they're just there. They're there. They're able to do all the manly things. They're able to just be that foundation for their family. So, how did you think? How did this affect him? Like, was there any change? Or I know you mentioned earlier that God you guys relied on God, but how has he been? His thought processes, how he sees things now, and what are some of the things that he still tries to do?
So when he lost his sight, I think about the first time he lost his sight totally, it really kind of bothered him. But after that, he told me, we talked about it, and he said, and he talked to God, and then he realized, why not me? Why not me be the one that God uses, to be able to make a difference in life. He said, although I lost my sight, so many more people are so worse
Much.
off than I am, you know. And that's how he look at it. And so he still to this day he would say, why not me? He goes in and out of the hospital. He comes out. He said, I bounced back. Why not me? Because I asked him, I was like, do you get tired of going in and out of the hospital? He was like, I do. He say, but God always brings me out. And it's a testament that people are watching me. And he said, I want to be an encouragement and to let people know, don't let anything beat you, regardless of what disease or whatever. It can't beat you. It's all about your attitude. It's all about the way you see things. And so to this day, he's such an inspiration to me as his wife. He's an
I know this morning when I was sharing with him, and he was just like, "This is my ride." Oh my God, I started tearing up. This is my ride or die. Like, you are with him, and men wants that. Men wants that in a woman, and so, I believe men are really strategic, especially nowadays with everything that's going on. They're strategic, and the women and the wives that they're looking for, someone who's going to be there, because the the glitz and the glam will fade away. The
yeah,
looks will fade away. Young people, it will fade away.
it will fade away. Yeah,
You're gonna get up sagging one of these days.
right,
Bald spots, you're gonna have to put
right,
on a white wig. It fades away, but when your relationship is built on God and you understand the covenant that you make, and I know sometimes it's hard and it's rough, and I'm also sensitive to people who have gone through a lot of divorces and stuff, like relationship breakup. I mean, I know what that looks like. And so it is important for us to recognize that things can happen, and we have to be mindful of that. And even we talk about premarital counseling. There is nothing wrong with going to counseling while you're married,
right, right,
to learn
right,
how to communicate better, because that is you wanting to sustain your marriage, keep that freshness, learn how to, you know, work with each other, because nothing is perfect, right?
right,
You can attest to that. Nothing is
right,
perfect. Like,
right.
things happen,
Yes, things happen. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so and so our goal, even on this platform, even in this, Sheila and I, when we talked this morning, was to be able to share. Sheila's sharing with me. She's my big sister, and I'm younger, and she's pouring into me. And our responsibility now is to pour into others and let everybody know that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. We
Right.
look good, we look cute, we take some pictures and stuff, but sometimes they get on our nerves as
Right.
well as we get on their nerves. And I'm like, okay, but we commit to each other. And our relationship with God is important to keep in mind. Would you agree?
I I totally agree. Totally. Another thing, for my husband, I think the thing that gets him the most is he can't, well, he's providing in a way, but as far as financially, that bothers him because he's always been the breadwinner. And then now that, he's on disability, so he feels that he's not putting in as much as he should. But being here with us, he doesn't realize that just being here, your love, your support of the family, that helps us out. We haven't lost anything. We haven't lost anything, So God is with us and God will always be with us. And I just let him know that because I don't want him to feel any type of way, feeling that, oh, my wife feels that I'm not doing my part or this or that. And you ask, what does he do? He cuts his hair. He will not let anybody cut his hair. He still cooks. He loves to cook. And he says, Sheila, I can do everything I used to do except drive a car. And I will do that again one day, even if I have to get a Tesla. That's what he
Oh
keeps
Lord, yes. I mean that's a good mindset and thought process. Just being positive. But as I was sharing even this morning, I believe he has really laid a foundation as a man. And we talk about even in the African American community, there's so many men that they can see, they can move and do whatnot, but they're
saying.
not doing it,
Hmm.
and they're present, but they're not available even for their children and for their families. And so he has laid a foundation. His you Even with his boy, through his boys, you can see, he's a dad boy. Hashtag dad boy. I'm learning all these new things. I'm telling you, I'm 38, but I feel like sometimes I'm 83. But anyway, I need to stop saying that. But anyway, so, and they're able to still see that example of him still wanting to do things,
Right.
still sharing, communicating, someone who has already laid a foundation, and even seeing you just building on top of the foundation now, and taking that burden on. So I applaud you. I applaud you. I applaud your husband
Thank
and
you.
your family.
Thank
How has your other relatives been? Been very
you.
supportive?
Very supportive. He has taken on my family as his family, which it is because we're one.
Yes.
So they're my family. I tell you, we're just family. We love loving people, and so that's what we do with each other. We just love on each other.
Awesome. There was a video that you sent me. I was trying my very best to kind of do something and put it in here, that I think your husband,
Yes.
he made it 3 point. He was playing basketball with some other boys and his friends, and he just throwed it up and it went in, and it just went viral. And I thought that was so interesting that he's just not cooked up one place in the home. He's still trying to do different things, and that was just a fun thing to see that he did, and it went viral. So
And guess what? That was
good
my
job.
that was my family. All of those people were family. So that's what we do. We get together for anything that's going on. We're gonna get together. So that's how we support each other. And he does too. He loves it. Keeps him going.
So I want you to share with a single, with someone who's getting ready to get married, and also, a young couple out there that is having a hard time dealing with the different things that are the challenges of marriage. I want you to just share something with them that you think will be able to help them through what they're going through their process. Because, marriage is not a bed of rose. And so it's important for us to be able to give that knowledge. So, what would you share with someone who is single and ready to get married, or thinking about getting married, or a young man? And also for a young couple who is together now but are having different challenges
Okay.
in marriage.
Okay. For the singles who are contemplating marriage, I just want to say to get to know each other. Make sure this is something you really want to do. You know, make sure this is someone you want to be with for a lifetime because, when you get married, you're getting married to be together for a lifetime, not thinking about divorce, take that off. Take that off get that out of your mind. Okay. Don't go in thinking like that. Just know that this is somebody I want to spend my time, my life with. Get to know that person. Get to know that person ways because you're not gonna know everything. You know,
Mhm.
you're still growing. Even 30 years, you're still learning things about that person. But if you're single, I just encourage you to make sure this is something you really want to do. Make sure you like this person and you're not doing it because your friends are getting married, everybody around you are getting married. Please make sure this is something you want to do. You want to do it, and the person you're engaged with or the person you want to be your spouse wants it. Both of you want it. Not one person wanting it and nagging the other person to get married. No, you guys have to be on one accord, and both of you have to want it. And then for both married and singles, get that counseling. That's very, very, very important. And even when you're married, just like Salome said, it's okay when you're in a marriage. You feel you need counseling, it's okay. And then I heard my pastor wife say, it's okay to not be okay. So, so if you're not okay with something, it's okay. Let someone talk about it. So it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to get counseling. Counseling doesn't mean anything bad. It means you want to work. You want your marriage. You want to work for your marriage. You want this thing to happen, and you want to do this, until death do you part. So I just feel that, to just be encouraged and know that it is okay. If you see things aren't going right, sit down with your spouse, talk, communication. That's the key. That's a big thing in marriages, and it's a big thing, for singles who wants to get married. Communication is just a big, big thing that we just don't seem to be on the same page. But communication is the key as well.
Yeah.
And God, but
Most
God,
importantly, God. Most importantly, I like that you said it. Communication. I've been, my husband and I have. Oh my goodness! Shout out to my husband who has been. I know he's been working so hard. He's an introvert, and I'm such an extrovert. Well, not such, but and we communicate and stuff. But I know, like, for the past year, I don't know if it's just this pandemic or anything that has really gotten us really, really close. And work time, we're spending quality time, and he's sharing his feelings,
hmm
and expressing himself even more, and I'm just having such a jolly good time. I feel like it's just the best time of my life. But it's so important to communicate, and I'll take it a notch further, like, communicate to understand,
right.
because he and I see things differently, like a lot, not all the times, but a lot of the times. And I have to communicate from that, um, from the point to understand, what does he mean, the things that he has been taught. And he was raised different from me. The environment that he grew up in was different. And so these are some of the things that will attach themselves even to how we communicate now. But
hmm
it's been a lot easier. I mean, we've had premarital counseling, we've had counseling throughout our marriage too, and different points, and even when dealing with our son and whatnot. But God has just been so good, and I
Yes.
just wanted to shout him out because
Yes.
he's doing such an awesome job, and I'm in love with them. I said falling in love because you can fall in love. I love my husband. So shout out, baby. I know he's gonna watch this. So I just wanted to give you your props. Give you
Yes.
props. So thank you so much. So singles, young people, even older people can
Yes.
learn from this too. Marriage is a process, but it is a God ordained thing. It's a covenant that we make with each other. And so it is very important for us to take it as such. It is very serious. God ordained marriage, and marriage is a replica of God's love for his people. Like the Bible talks about, man should love their wives as God loved the church, and women should be submissive. And so it is important for us to work as a cohesive unit, as a unit.
Yes.
And doesn't matter who, it could have been you who went through a situation, your husband being there for you. So it can happen both ways. So I just wanted to just share that with you. And yeah, just remember, it is a process.
Yes.
Things are going to happen, like outside things are going to come in, inside things. Sometimes it's just a little thing, like take out the trash, that could blow up. Like,
Yes.
take up your clothes. Why would you drop your clothes there? The hamper is right there, and your clothes is right
Right.
there on the floor. Like,
Right.
do
Right.
you have these issues?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Good-
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
like, good God Almighty, help us.
Yes, ma'am.
And so it's so those little things too can cause issues. But people are going through a lot of things now, and even now that a lot of people are home together,
Right.
some of the things that were swept over, now we have to deal with them as well. So
Mhm.
I just want to thank you so much, Miss Sheila, for just coming and sharing your story and just helping us. You have helped us so much. You have no idea.
Thank
I
you.
am striving to be able to be in that position, whatever it is that comes, because things will come. It might
Yes.
not be your particular
Yes.
thing, but just something will come. But be able to say, I'm going to stand. I'm going to stay committed to the
Yes.
process, to my husband as
Yes.
well. So I appreciate you. Thank
Thank
you so
you. Thank
much
you
for
for
coming.
inviting me. I really enjoyed this. Thank you
Thank you, and
so
I can't
much.
wait to have you and your husband on.
Yes. And
My husband promised that he said he promised. He's like, nope, but he promised. So I'm holding him to it. So, baby,
okay.
come on.
Okay.
Miss
Look
Sheila, thank
forward
you
to
so
it.
much. I love you and thank you
You.
for just sharing. And God bless you and your
God bless you.
family. And
God bless you.
we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.